It's fundamentally a loophole that now exists in our immigration system that rewards illegal aliens just because they have a baby in the United States while they're in our country illegally. So I think that loophole is going to cause a lot of problems. There are a number of things that we're already looking at in the administration, Laura, to try to close down that loophole. But fundamentally, what we're talking about is fixing a problem the Supreme Court created. We also want to look over the long term at undoing that problem to begin with.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So a lot of you guys probably heard by now that the Supreme Court decided to uphold birthright citizenship while striking down an executive order that President Trump signed on day one when he came back into office in 2025 to limit citizenship for babies that are born from illegal parents. And a lot of people are outraged by this decision from the Supreme Court, rightfully so, but the administration, the Trump administration, they're looking at two main ways in which they can carry on this fight to end birthright citizenship. And here I have this article to show you from CNN where it's titled, "Trump's audacious bid to end birthright citizenship was not an entire loss at the Supreme Court." And the article goes on to explain that Kavanaugh suggested that Trump might accomplish his goal through new federal legislation to end birthright citizenship. Congress could, consistent with the 14th Amendment, amend the relevant federal laws or otherwise enact new legislation establishing exceptions to birthright citizenship for children born to foreign citizens unlawfully or temporarily inside the country. Basically, what this means and what it's saying is that the Supreme Court struck down President Trump's executive order limiting birthright citizenship. It's saying it's unconstitutional. However, the president and Congress, they can act in terms of trying to amend the 14th Amendment or passing new legislation to limit birthright citizenship for children that are born to non-citizens. And immediately, President Trump made this True Social post where he said, "The Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, which is too bad for our country, but we can easily make it up in Congress through legislation with the support of the president that has now been determined during this process. No long and unwieldy constitutional amendment is necessary. Congress should start today to work on ending expensive and unfair to our country birthright citizenship. They will have my complete and total support. President Donald J. Trump." So that was President Trump making it clear that he wants Congress to pass new legislation to limit birthright citizenship because doing an amendment will take a long time and it is a very tedious process. And just to show you exactly why the administration and a lot of people they support ending birthright citizenship is because a lot of countries are taking advantage of this loophole. And here's this reporting explaining how countries are abusing this system, which is why birthright citizenship needs to end. Play clip.
Crackdown on an alleged anchor baby ring on Long Island. Prosecutors say more than 100 pregnant women from Turkey came here to give birth, so their children were instantly granted U.S. citizenship.
Investigators say the women then used benefits like Medicaid. CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff reports from Suffolk County.
An alert Smithtown town employee noticed a strange pattern of birth certificates, 5 babies from one house at one time. An investigation led to an international fraud scheme, an alleged birth tourism ring operating on Long Island for 3 years.
The defendants fraudulently facilitated the births in the United States of approximately 119 Turkish children. And those children now hold birthright U.S. citizenship.
It's the 14th Amendment that grants citizenship to any child born in the U.S. Officials say in this case, ringleaders brazenly advertised in Turkey. Translation, if you believe your baby should be born in the USA and become an American citizen, you're in the right place.
As you can see, this is a loophole that countries are taking advantage of. And it's not just Turkey. We're talking about China. We're talking about all these different countries. What they're doing, there's an entire industry around birth tourism, where inside these countries, they advertise to families, to moms. What they're saying is that, well, you can get pregnant or go to the United States. You can get pregnant and have your babies there, even though you're not an American citizen. And immediately that child will become an American citizen, which is mind-boggling how the Supreme Court could have ruled to uphold this status quo, which is why the administration is now resorting to essentially trying to pass legislation in Congress. And here's a Democrat back in 1993, and this is what this Democrat had to say in regards to birthright citizenship. And what the Trump administration and Republicans in Congress, what they're doing, they're introducing the same bill that was introduced by this Democrat.
If making it easy to be an illegal alien isn't enough, how about offering a reward for being an illegal immigrant? No sane country would do that, right? Guess again. If you break our laws by entering this country without permission and give birth to a child, we reward that child with U.S. citizenship and guarantee of full access to all public and social services this society provides. And that's a lot of services. Is it any wonder that 2/3 of the babies born at taxpayer expense at county-run hospitals in Los Angeles are born to illegal alien mothers?
That was a Democrat senator, Senator Harry Reid, in 1993, and I believe he went on to serve as Obama's majority leader in the Senate. But needless to say, this is to show you how much the Democrat Party has shifted to the left. Because if someone today should say anything relatively close to this, while the Democrats are going to say, oh, that person is racist, that person is a fascist, and all these different languages. And this is what the Democrats they do. They want to essentially incentivize illegal immigration because, for one, they want to give these individuals citizenship so they can vote. They want these individuals to have babies and stuff because traditionally immigrants typically vote for the Democrats. And then these babies will grow up to become a voting bloc for the Democrats, which is why Congress needs to pass this bill or the bill that's being introduced to end birthright citizenship. But legislation isn't the only method that the administration is looking at, because they're also looking at ramping up mass deportation as well. And here we have J.D. Vance on this, and then Tom Homan also weighed in on this entire thing. Play clip.
What is the administration prepared to do to protect the country, and what can it do after this ruling?
Well, one of the things we're going to have to do is just continue to enforce the border, Laura. This was a very disappointing ruling from the Supreme Court. Of course, we respect it, but we also think that it was a major, major mistake. As Justices Alito and Thomas pointed out, you know, one of the things that might invite, Laura, is people to come here quite literally on a vacation, give birth, and then all of a sudden the child and their family have the full benefits of American citizenship.
That was Vice President J.D. Vance on the ruling and what the administration is planning to do. Because, for one, we know that they're going to go to Congress, and the second avenue of approach is to essentially ramp up mass deportations and get illegal immigrants, undocumented folks, out of the country where you're not having these undocumented births. And here we have Tom Homan on that very same matter. Play clip.
I mean, the first thing I saw the decision, which I don't agree with, is okay, now we step up enforcement. We step up more enforcement. Even though we're doing record amounts of enforcement now, we need to do more. And not only that, we need to, really buckle down on birth tourism. We have many investigations on birth tourism, but we need to quadruple down on that. This birthright citizenship has always been a major driver for illegal immigration. During the Biden administration, the Yuma Hospital, the El Paso Hospital, 100% maternity beds were illegal aliens. That's not a coincidence. That's not by accident. But it's always been a driver for illegal immigration. But more importantly, it's a national security issue.
That was Tom Homan, the border czar, making it very clear that mass deportation will continue. And there was this exchange over at CNN, which I think is a beautiful exchange, because what CNN, they're trying to do, and the Democrats, they're trying to paint the administration, paint people on the right as being anti-immigration. And then you had this panelist that had to correct the record to essentially clarify the position of the administration and most folks on the right. Play clip.
And that's something that's really pushing back, it seems, on the heavily anti-immigrant rhetoric coming out of the White House and the Republican Party.
Can I just push back on that slightly? Obviously, I'm a supporter of this administration. I'm a daughter of 2 immigrants. I'm a supporter of immigration when it's done the legal, correct way. And I think immigrants have done an incredible a bit of good, let's just say, for our country, including my own family. So I don't think there's an anti-immigrant sentiment. I think it's an anti-illegal immigrant sentiment. I would say a good chunk of why Donald Trump got elected is because we have a problem with illegal immigration. I'd say most Americans actually agree on that. They disagree on the level to which it's bothering them and what they want to change. But I know a lot of people that thought that birthright citizenship was a major problem and who voted for President Trump assuming he might be able to make some kind of a difference.
I completely agree with her, and I think a lot of folks on the right would agree as well that the issue is not immigration. The issue is illegal immigration and these birth tourisms. And that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below in regards to the Supreme Court's decision. Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.